Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here and welcome to the Miss Lillian Mobley A Bridge Home site in our Council District 9. We are so excited to be a part of this effort and we're so excited that you're here. So give yourselves a round of applause for sitting in this hot sun today. My name is Veronica Lewis. I'm the director of HOPIX, which is a division of special service for groups, and we have a pretty large footprint here in Council District 9. All three of our South LA offices are in Council District 9, literally right down the street within 2 miles of here. And so this means a lot for us to be able to open up a Bridge Home site here. In the last 18 months, our organization has opened up 16 new interim housing sites, a variety of different locations. And actually, October 2019, it was a Bridge Home for singles. And so this just amplifies the need to get people off of the street. We're really excited to be a part of the leadership of Council District 9, the new ninth, and all of the things that Councilmember Curren Price is doing to get people off the street, both temporarily and also developing a significant number of permanent housing units to move people on their journey to become stably housed. This site in particular is going to be able to support 15 families and single mothers with children. And we're going to wrap our arms around the mothers and the kids and remove whatever barriers that they have and ultimately move them on to permanent housing. On any given day, HOPIX, we have about 50 men and women on the streets of South LA and surrounding areas actually taking services to people that are living outdoors, living in their cars, living in abandoned buildings. And so we have a deep understanding of what the suffering, the despair, the loneliness, and the health issues from living outside look like. And we want to continue to see more of this. And so thank you for being here to support. I believe some of the neighbors are here, so we're going to be good neighbors. Don't worry. We bring value and we bring resources to the community, and we hope that you'll align with us in doing that. Also want to thank Supervisor Holly Mitchell. This is in her district, and so we're glad to be a part of her district, in addition to Mayor Garcetti and just all of the local government that's doing everything that they can, despite what you see in the paper. They are doing everything that they can. They care about these people. They care about effective, cost-effective, and efficient solutions. And so as a service provider, we're happy to be a part of those efforts. And so our first speaker is going to be our very own council member of this district. And so please welcome with a roaring round of applause, Councilmember Curren Price.
Thank you. This is a great day today in the new ninth, wouldn't you say? Yeah, that's what I'd say. I am just so proud to be here with family, with friends, with neighbors, city family, the county family, and the Mobley family that you're going to hear from shortly are here. My name is Curren Price, and I'm just honored to be the council person here in CD9. You know, and let me just give a hat off to HOPIX. Veronica was very, very reserved in praising her organizations, but they are really angels on the street, men, women, and others that are really doing all possible to get folks off the street, get them temporary housing and finally some permanent housing. But you got to have services, and so that's what HOPIX is so skilled in doing, in a very intentional, a very respectful, and a very effective way. And so, Veronica, we just appreciate the partnership with HOPIX and the unique collaboration that we have in the CD9. And I'd like to say you're just in CD9, but you're really throughout South LA and other parts of Los Angeles. So we have to share her. But we don't mind doing so because it's for a good cause. You know what I mean? But today I'm thrilled to present the Lillian Mobley Family Housing Project. This is just a beautiful site, and wait till give it up. This is really a model facility, and as you take a look around. You go upstairs and go inside, and you see outside here, it's obviously kid-friendly and pet-friendly. We want it to be a place of comfort and a place that the folks can call home to get off the streets. And we know it's very, very important. You know, the latest census show that we've got about 550 families suffering from the condition of homelessness on the streets. That's, men, women, and kids on the street, trying to find their way. And so we're very thankful that we're starting a new chapter here in CD9. This is our first family site. And so we're proud that we'll be able to house 15 to 15 families in this location. This homeless shelter is the 27th in the city network of shelters for families. And so we're just so proud and so pleased to have this one here, and that we've named it after Lillian Mobley, someone who really cared about families and kids. While this is our first bridge site for families, back in March 2020, we cut our first bridge home site on Hope Street. We call it Hope on Hope Street. And there, we've got 100 rooms for 100 men and women from the community. There's an eating area, community room, laundry facilities. And so, again, trying to create a home away from home kind of situation. Furthermore, the individuals there have access to job training, life skills, case management, a variety of services, again, that go along with it. Our second bridge site here at Lillian Mobley is going to be important because it's going to accommodate the family. You see here the children are going to be able to play in the playground area. It is pet friendly, and they've got room to play in the back and in the front. And so we made sure that those grassy areas are available for moms or for dads who want to have a little picnic with the kids or go out on the grass and do homework or just rest, just cool out. It's a safe place to make that happen. Just as important, of course, the residents here are going to have access to services, job training, life skills, and other services that, again, are going to help them transition into a more stable environment. These programs are so very important, especially here in CD9. Some of you may be aware, but we have the second largest population of encampments outside of Skid Row. CD9, up and down the major streets and side streets. And so, again, we just have to do more. We have to do better. I'm proud to say that in CD9, I've been able to approve more than 2,400 units of affordable and homeless housing. 2,400 units, and in fact, 900 are going to be available by the end of next year. And so we're really serious, really intentional about making the infrastructure available, the resources available, again, to get our neighbors off the streets. With the rising rents and high cost of living, the situation has created unimaginable hardships. And so it's devastating not only on the families, but neighbors as well. Everyone is suffering. It's absolutely fitting that this new ABH site be named after a real pillar, a real solid guardian in our community, a pillar who made every effort to uplift the community and to provide hope. Mother Mobley, as many of us lovingly called her, was a mentor not only to myself but to hundreds and hundreds of others throughout L.A. and Southern California. She was a woman of action and a colossal figure who loved and cared for people wherever they were and whatever condition they were in. She devoted her life in advocacy, and she really cultivated the hope and the power that imbues the underserved and disenfranchised community. And she was a steadfast proponent of that. One of her many landmark actions, of course, was being an advocate for building the MLK Hospital in South LA and the Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science. Again, that facility. That's right, give it up. Both of those historic facilities, again, are important legacies, not only to South LA, not only to the black Angelenos, but to all Angelenos. And so we are very, very appreciative. But at this time, it's my honor to introduce someone who really needs no introduction. She has been breaking down barriers for a long, long time. And she certainly has been a fighter for families and for children's rights, and that has also extended to homelessness and those that are suffering. So please join me, and let's welcome to the stage our supervisor, the Honorable Holly Mitchell.
Well, first first of all, given my background in early care and education, I rarely see a slide that I'm not attracted to sliding down. But given the fact that I'm 6 feet, I think if I got to the top of that, my feet would already be at the bottom. So I may take a pass this time. Although I could be convinced. It wouldn't take much. Good afternoon. I see so many wonderful, familiar faces that we have been able to see and gather together in the last year. So it is really great to be here. And, you know, as a daughter of South Los, Miss Mobley was a teacher to all of us. I just say she was a teacher to all of us. And so it gives me immense pride to be able to be here and join with you to really talk about issues that were near and dear to her for all of her leadership life in our community. Issues that I wish we could say had changed in a more drastic fashion than quite frankly they have. To think about when she was initially organizing with Sweet Alice and so many others, they were looking out for the needs of families in South Los. And many of those needs continue in terms of, you know, housing access, in terms of access to affordable, high-quality child care, in terms of access to healthy fruits and vegetables. We still have far too many families living in food deserts, as well as needing facilities like we are here to celebrate today. It gives me great pride to be able to partner with my partner in all things justice and equity, to make sure that we are standing in the gap to bring these kinds of bridge housing facilities for families into the communities who need them the most. We don't want to create a situation where we're building housing and expect people to go outside of the community that they were born and raised in. We all have a sense of community and a sense of family, and to create opportunities like this in our communities, from my perspective, is what's most important. So I am pleased to be here, particularly for a facility dedicated in the name of Miss Mobley, to lend my voice, to lend my support, and to just know that these are examples of your government working for you. I think sometimes some of our family and friends and neighbors get confused about the role of government. But I certainly hope, as a result of these last 13 months we've all shared together, that you understand that government is here to stand in the gap. I was proud to be at a couple of metro stations this morning, Councilman, where we're providing vaccination at metro sites. And so doing all that we can to make sure that our schools are reopened safely, that we are providing opportunities like this for families to have the respect of high quality housing in our communities, making sure that we are closing the digital divide. All of these issues are issues we know have permeated South Los Angeles, but then now the world knows, thanks to this dual pandemic, a public health and economic pandemic. So we're not going to return to normal. We're going to return to greater. We're going to return to better. And this facility today is a perfect example of that. Thank you very much for the county, the city, all of the organizations who've come together to create these kind of opportunities for our families. Councilman, thank you very much for the invitation and the partnership. I appreciate you.
Okay, let's give it to our supervisor. She takes care of us, makes certain that resources are there, and she's always a strong advocate, isn't she? Always a strong advocate for families and for children. And Supervisor, we thank you for that. You know, and she mentioned the pandemic, of course, that we're going through. We've been very intentional here in CD9, making sure that folks have access to not only testing but vaccines. And as you know, we've been doing vaccines not only at Kedron on an extended basis, but also at our local parks, South Park, Vermont Square. And this week we are at Green Meadows, and we'll be there from 9 to 9. So please tell your family and friends who've not gotten the shot that they still can. No questions asked. They don't even need an appointment now. Remember the good old days when you had to have an appointment and people were getting in line and squeezing in line and lying about lines and stuff? And it's free. Well, it's still free. And now it's even more accessible. So no excuse. Please encourage your family and friends. Now, let me introduce someone else who's been on the front lines of homelessness here in Los Angeles and really across the state. Our next speaker has built a decades-long career on finding solutions to some of our most critical problems. With experience in supporting the incarcerated youth, foster youth, and youth in recovery, he's now heading up one of the most important issues for the mayor. Please welcome LA Deputy Mayor for Homelessness, Jose Shea Ramirez. Say a few words.
Well, thank you, Councilman, for the introduction. So nice to be here with all of you on such a lovely day as we celebrate the opening of the city's 27th Abridged home site. That's 20 sites now that have opened since the start of the pandemic. Over 2,000 ABH interim housing beds that are now online to continue to bring folks indoors and begin a stable path to permanent housing. And while we will open the 28th and final site in a few weeks, this one is special. This one's special for a few reasons. One, it's the first ABH family site to open here in CD9, a reflection of the councilman's leadership to invest in the well-being of families in need in his district. It's also here in this district that I once worked with families in need, families who were experiencing homelessness, families on the verge of homelessness. So it's very special for me personally to recognize the need and the work being done. But what really makes this one truly special is the name of this bridge home site, Lillian Mobley Family Housing. Lily Mobley Family Housing. Ms. Mobley was one of the most beloved and respected leaders this community has ever seen. Her dedication to the issues of healthcare, education, and the elderly can still be felt to this day. And her spirit will continue to live on and inspire this new site, which will provide a safe and welcoming space for families in need here in South LA. And while I didn't grow up in South LA, but my wife did, I myself personally experienced homelessness as a young age, as a young teen. And I can truly appreciate the village that it takes to care for our most vulnerable. It's not enough just to create housing, but we also need to create a sense of community for those that we bring indoors. With that, I truly want to thank Veronica and Victor and Hopix for making this space feel like home for the families here. I come from the provider world, so I'm always going to lean into my provider family. They've been our heroes and sheroes on the ground since the start of this pandemic, and truly have so much respect for you and your team. Thank you to Councilman Price and Supervisor Mitchell for their leadership and for always putting families first. Justin Day and Brilliant Corners for transforming this amazing space. And last but certainly not least, on behalf of the Mayor's Office, special thanks and big hugs to the Mobley family who's present today for allowing us to continue to honor the legacy of Miss Lillian Mobley. Thank you.
Thank you, Shay. When you mentioned, I think we all have mentioned children in our comments and our remarks. You might just be interested to know of the 250,000 residents here in CD9. The last census showed that approximately of them, one third of which were under 18. 1/3. And so we have a real challenge and a real opportunity, I think, to meet the needs not just now, but also in the future. At this time, I'd like to welcome one of the first residents of our site here. She's here to share some experiences on what living here have been so far. She has her own experiences, her own thoughts about how this is going to change her life. And so we'd like to ask her to come up now, please.
Good afternoon. My name is T, and I have been a client and resident of Hopix for about a year now. Some of my backstory was I was in a substance abuse relationship. I had my 3 kids, and I needed to get away, and I needed to find haven for me and my children. And for about a year, I went from house hopping from one resident to one family member to a friend till I end up finding the doors of Hopix, and they have been very helpful with me. They have helped me to concentrate on myself, getting myself better for my kids. I didn't have to worry about a place to stay. I didn't have to worry about my kids being in a vulnerable point where anything could happen to them out here in the LA streets, especially homelessness and sleeping in cars. And this program has been a blessing to me. They have helped me in housing programming to locate permanent housing. They have helped me into finding job employment. They have been beneficial with me, with my kids, as far as their education, especially living in this house. My kids have been able to focus on schoolwork, worry about them having a childhood, worry about them being productive citizens, and it just gives me that opportunity to make sure at the end that this journey wasn't in vain. It really was a self-discovery, a trial that I will be able to pass in this life, and the blessings of the community, the blessings of the organization, not only helping me but helping others to be able to have that second chance in life that we really want, that some people look and frown upon us not to get, because when you say that you're homeless, first things people want to think are you're irresponsible. You don't know how to take care of your utilities, your rent. You don't know how to be in a mind frame of focus to where you want to better yourself. And this program has shown me that they are helping people like me and others in this time of our lives, especially in a pandemic where a lot of us are still trying to find homes. We're still trying to get jobs, and they are making it a way for us to be able to talk to people, to meet people, to interview with people, so we can get that second chance that all of us are really working hard to get. And I appreciate the fact that I am actually able to stay in a home that's named after this beautiful spirit that I've been hearing so much about, and just want to let her family know that she was a godsend. She was heaven sent. She has helped not only those who got a chance to know her personally, but in spirit, she's helping those that she hasn't touched yet. And I am so grateful and so thankful for the honor to be here and to be in a place named after such a beautiful spirit as Ms. Mobley. And I thank you guys so much, and have a great day.
Thank you, T, for your encouraging and inspiring remarks. And I know it means a lot, not only to our community, but to the Mobley family as well. At this time, let me introduce someone from the lead agency for the city and the county, LASA, that's been in this fight for homelessness for a long, long time. They're working day and night to make sure that tens of thousands of Angelenos get off the streets and then get into some supportive housing so that they can move forward with their lives. Let me invite Molly Reisman from LASA to come up and say a few words. Molly?
Thank you, Councilman. I am so proud to be here, and I love the amazing work we've been able to do with our Bridge Home program that the mayor started and the city council has been such a champion of. And I have such incredible admiration for Veronica and your team at Hopix. It's been amazing to get to work alongside you for many years now. And I think the best part of working alongside Veronica is to watch all the incredible leaders who have come along and joined Hopix, and that Veronica's been a mentor to. And now you have this incredible team of leaders, and you guys are just doing amazing work. Hopix is killing it with our recovery rehousing program. They're our top housing placement agency in that program, and you guys just have an extraordinary, yes, please, because they're incredible. Just doing such amazing work, and this is such an amazing example. And Ty, thank you for your incredible statement and sharing your story and just talking about the spirit of Miss Mobley and bringing her spirit into this exciting day and this real celebration. All of this takes an incredible amount of collaboration to make a site like this happen. And so I want to thank Mayor Garcetti, Councilmember Price, Supervisor Mitchell, Veronica, and Justin Day from Brilliant Corners. There's so many properties like this across Los Angeles that wouldn't be serving people experiencing homelessness and helping them get on a path to a home of their own if it wasn't for Justin and the work you're doing. So really appreciate it. We've seen from the success of collaborative projects like A Bridge Home and Project Room Key and Project Home Key that if we coordinate with clarity and urgency, we can create the tools necessary to place our unsheltered neighbors on a road home. This A Bridge Home site for families continues that momentum and represents a significant step forward in ensuring families experiencing homelessness in South LA receive the help they need to become housed and stay housed, which is really our goal, is for families to really thrive in our communities. And this is a great step forward today, but we also must continue to create places for families experiencing homelessness to have access to permanent housing as well. There is much that must be accomplished in the months ahead, and we can only meet that challenge together as a seamless regional system that focuses on prevention, rehousing, and housing creation. I look forward to working with all of the organizations and the officials present today to increase the number of places that we can call home for families and others experiencing homelessness in Los Angeles. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Molly, again for your leadership, and give Heidi and the team our regards. Now, projects like these would not come to fruition without the dedication of lots of folks behind the scenes. The individual I'm about to introduce has been in real estate for the past 16 years, and he's been focused on providing units with supportive housing for the past decade. Justin Day works to build partnerships between nonprofit service providers, government agencies, and the private market to create a range of housing interventions for people experiencing homelessness, from interim to PSH to board and care. So Justin, why don't you come up and say a few words?
Councilman Price, thank you for the introduction. I'd be remiss not to take some of my time today to say a few thank yous. First and foremost, thank you to Hoppix. Thank you for everything you do. Veronica, I've had the privilege and pleasure of working with you and your incredible group over the last few years to create critically needed interim housing facilities like the one we're at today. You all do amazing work, which often goes thankless, and I really want to take an opportunity with the microphone to say thank you again. I know how hard you all work for your clients. I know how hard you work in the background and how often that goes unseen. Just in the past few months, you've opened numerous locations. I heard 16 or so, and you work tirelessly to do it. And so we all collectively owe you a debt of gratitude for the hard work that you do, that we all benefit from here in our community. This is actually the second family shelter together that we've worked on in CD9 and in SD2. And I also want to thank the councilman and the supervisor and your staff for your continued support and push to create new housing opportunities like this, especially for families. Sites like this are possible to create under the Emergency Shelter Ordinance. And a big thank you is owed to our local and state government for providing the expedited pathways to convert a building like this into interim housing. I'd also like to thank the Chief Administrative Office for the city. What an incredible group of problem solvers we have there. They know how to get things done. Even with the benefit of the shelter ordinance, it still takes significant effort to navigate the process, especially in a pandemic. As you can see, I've lost a few hairs along the way. And so I really thank the CAO for helping us get to the finish line. Couldn't have done it without you. Now I'd like to take a moment to talk about what we sought to achieve here. The critical state of homelessness in our city can lead us to believe that larger capacity, high density sites are the best solution. And there's certainly a strong argument for that, given the sheer scale of our crisis. But this location is a great example of how smaller sites can be modified and tailored to specific program and population needs, as was the case here for families, by creating a pet-friendly space for kids to be kids, for parents to easily access critically needed case management services, and for staff to have a smaller setting, which can be critical in building the trust and rapport and the close connections with the families that are imperative for their process. I genuinely believe this will result in more improved health outcomes for families here today and for those to come. We need to utilize every option we have, but I think we can continue to uncover smaller community-based opportunities like this. This site would not be possible were it not for the city funding the lease payments for the operator, for Hoppix, in its entirety. There was a great article in the LA Times yesterday that really broke down the challenges in funding our service providers sufficiently to do the incredible work that they do. By eliminating this cost, Hoppix is able to commit all of their service dollars towards operations, rather than splitting it with rent. Again, this would not work were it not for the city subsidizing that cost. And I think that's a model that should really be explored further in these smaller locations. This site was previously a ground floor commercial unit with a duplex on the second floor that was accessed by an exterior stairwell. Through creative design with families in mind, and by adding an interior stairwell, we were able to create a single cohesive site that will provide shelter today, but that also provides flexibility for future use beyond interim housing to serve the city's ongoing needs. In closing, I'd really just like to say thank you to everyone that worked together to create this amazing space. I'm very proud of this. This is a prime example of what can happen when government, nonprofit, and private entities do the hard work together with the common goal of providing the highest quality housing possible. Let's continue to be as creative and collaborative as we can be to create locations like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Again, appreciate your commitment and your skill and your ability. Without further ado, we're going to now just acknowledge and hear from some of Mrs. Mobley's family. And the person I'm bringing to the stage is someone who has stepped up to the plate in a great way to protect and to build upon her great aunt's legacy. Currently serving as president of the Lillian Mobley Multipurpose Center here in CD9. She also serves on the board of directors of the Watchtowers and a variety of other organizations as well. Please help me welcome Ms. Chioma Abawe.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Chioma Abawe. I am Miss Mobley's great niece. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have so many of my family members who could make it here today. I have Philip Mobley, Miss Mobley's oldest son, and my cousin Jamel, and my cousin Amar and his children. My cousin Keisha was here for a little bit, but she had to hurry up and get back to work. And thank you. And I'm so glad to see so many faces I haven't seen in a while. Been home, zooming from home. But this is very beautiful, and it's very befitting that it's the Lillian Mobley family housing. Lillian Mobley, Mrs. Lillian Harkless Mobley, and her husband, Mr. James Mobley, came to South Central Los Angeles from Macon, Georgia, many, many moons ago. They are both gone on, have transitioned, but they both left a legacy. They moved to, one of the first homes they moved to, which they purchased 2 on the block, was also in CD9 off of Broadway in Manchester. Then in the 80s, they bought a home on Challenger Street, still in CD9, 51st in Vermont, which is where I grew up with my cousin Malik here. So CD9 was in her blood, but that's not it. When I was growing up, I would go with my mother, who passed on last year, Diane. I would go with my mother to the Masood Falomi gift shop. That was Mrs. Mobley's entrepreneurial effort. She had a gift shop on Broadway, just south of Vernon. And she had that gift shop for many years, and my mother would work in there, and I would assist my mother. And Mr. James Mobley had a newsstand right on the corner, on the southwest corner of Vernon and Broadway. So they were both entrepreneurs, although Mr. Mobley had a career in the railroad. So he retired from the railroad after working there over 30 years or so. But they were also entrepreneurs. Then Miss Mobley went on, she worked for NAP. Some of the elders in the community are familiar with the Neighborhood Adult Participation Program. She worked there, and she advocated for her people since she started here, since she came to South Central. And then she went on to found the South Central Multipurpose Senior Citizen Center, which is still on 78th and Central, which we renamed after she passed in 2011 to the Lillian Mobley Multipurpose Center. But she also founded the Watts Towers Community Action Council, another nonprofit, because she wanted to advocate for the towers. She wanted to advocate for the towers so that they will remain in Watts, where Simon Rodia founded and created and made the sculpture that is still there today. So Mrs. Mobley was very multifaceted. Yes, she was the community mother, but she was a loving mother, she was a loving grandmother, she was a strong, fierce advocate for her community. She also was a co-founder of Mothers in Action, another nonprofit which is held on today by Miss Tracy Mitchell. It was co-founded with Brenda Marsh Mitchell and, yes, Brenda Marsh Mitchell, Miss Mobley, Miss Carter, and many other staunch, fierce advocate ladies in our community who I think almost all of them have gone on and transitioned now. So we're here still trying to uphold their legacy. And this space is just very befitting. Mrs. Mobley would often recite Grandma's hands. She would say, we wake up early in the morning to gather the mud and the straw, to give to the kids, to build a future, to build the bridge for a better tomorrow. And this is a bridge home. I thought, wow, that's very befitting, because that is what she was all about. She was all about building bridges for a better tomorrow. She advocated for her community, for her family, for her people to her last days here on earth. She passed away in 2011, but we're still here. We're still upholding her legacy, and we are moving forward and building bridges with the knowledge and the wisdom that she provided us. So I thank Curren Price, our Councilman Curren Price. I thank Hopics. I thank all of the nonprofits that are involved, because that was Ms. Mobley's life, running nonprofits. In her later years, that was her work. It's a thankless job. It's a hard job, but she did it until the end. So I thank all of the organizations that are involved with this space. And I thank the City Councilman's office for deciding to name this space the Lillian Mobley Family Housing, because that is what she was all about. From the moment she came to South Central, she was about taking people in, giving them a hand up, helping them, guiding them. I mean, she helped a lot of people in South Central get jobs. She helped them with housing. She connected people to where they needed to be, to who would help them and where they could go. So I think she would be very proud of this. I know she would. I know she would be very proud of this. She would be very proud to see this here on Figueroa in the 9th, helping the people of South Central. So I thank everyone that came out today. I thank the organizations again, and thank you.
Thank you, Chioma. You certainly represent your aunt well, and our whole community is indebted to you and the work that she and others have done to not just provide a legacy, but to demonstrate that we care. You know, Mrs. Mobley was about caring. You heard You heard her niece. She was about caring and connecting, making sure folks had their needs met, and we are just so much in awe of her and the job that she did. We're going to conclude our program and ask you to join me as we cut the ribbon. Well, let me just again give a shout out to the folks who really made this possible. Appreciate the leadership from the city and from the county family that was involved in making this happen. Channel 35 was out here with us today, and CD9 staff, Sherilyn, Curtis Ernest, Angelina, Dee Dee, Brittany is here, James Westbrook is here, and we all are here to say that we care and we're so excited about today. So without further ado, that concludes our program. Let's proceed for the ribbon cutting, and I understand we're going to be doing some tours of the site, no additional charge. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, so thank you. Thank you for being here today. Okay, ready? Okay, 1, 2, 9.